Almost a month after its demo release, Stellar Blade has officially hit the shelves. The only question now is, what does the full game have to offer? Hi, I'm Corey, and after putting about 6 hours into Stellar Blade since release, I wanted to share my first impressions. For starters, Stellar Blade leans very heavily on its combat, which at first to me felt very Souls-like, until I started unlocking more of my beta skills and higher level combos. At that point, the combat system really picks up and becomes very flashy and fun. However, that isn't what has me drawn into this game. Aside from the combat system, there is a lot to like about this game. And no, I don't just mean the butt. When you rest at campsites, sometimes Eve will have short little conversations with Adam about what is going on in the world and about what happened to her. There are an abundance of campsites spread throughout the levels, so if you end up dying, you don't really have to go back that far in order to make it to where you were. And on top of that, you don't actually have to worry about losing anything at all when you die. So that's a great feature to have, especially considering the game can be challenging at times, but it's also very fair once you get it figured out. And for those of you who don't want a challenge, there's also the option to do story mode. So Shift Up really helps you out on this. However, mentioning story mode does bring me to my first negative experience with Stellar Blade. The story itself feels very bland, and the characters often seem awkward in the cutscene. So far, I have enjoyed finding the bits of lore that spread around the world more than I've actually enjoyed watching the cutscenes themselves, because sometimes they can also feel very drawn out and they slow down the pace at times, especially when there's just random short cutscenes out of nowhere. I mentioned briefly at the beginning of this video that Stellar Blade has some skills. Well, it doesn't just have some. There are actually 5 different skill trees with a ton of skills that require SP in order to unlock. And to further that, the game also gives you more ways to customize your playstyle with exo spines that are actually upgradable as well. A feature that I am very fond of in the game is that so far it doesn't seem to feature a ton of puzzles. There are a lot of, oh, you got to go find this password for this chest that is in such and such area, or you got to go find this key off this body and use that. But aside from that, I haven't actually really had to do any puzzles, and I've been very thankful for that as someone who's terrible at puzzles. But I have noticed that there are some hidden destroyable walls, and that have some items behind them that you can find. And there's also some items that are hidden in places where you're like, how do I get to that? So with the game seeming linear, there is still plenty of stuff that you can explore and find in this game. And for those of you who are like me and tend to fall or jump off high places, Stellar Blade does have fall damage, and yes, it is brutal. That's all for my first impressions on this game. If you have started the game yourself, I would love to hear your opinions on the game, and I will see you on the next one.